time is it? Your show. Yeah, what time is it? Your show. Yeah, what time is it? Your show. Yeah, he's back from the dead. Your show. Putting it on the map, yeah. Saskatoon. Right next to New York. New York. Yeah, what show, yeah. Your show. What time is it? Your show. Yeah, time to talk some shit, yeah. Your show.
You've tuned in, yeah?
Yeah, fun Maggie. Bark, bark, wolf, wolf, who wants a treat, yeah? Keep listening.
Go time? Go time! Welcome to another week of your show right here on YouTube, Monday to Friday, the only show we know that has the balls to go live each and every weekday from 4 to 5 p.m. And I say has the balls because it takes a lot of courage to do a live show because anything can happen, especially when one of your TVs isn't working. That's why I had to give a little shout out to my man in the booth, the dragon in the cave, my sweet little toothless himself on the ones and twos. He's giving me the cues today because said TV isn't working, but don't worry, our head engineer, the great LB, will be in tomorrow and he'll get it all fixed up. Then we can see when it's time to go instead of just looking back and forth. My name is Gary and welcome to your show. This is about the time where basically the time that everyone waits for when this show comes on because everybody loves our sweet, beautiful Margaret. So let's head now to the Maggie Cam. Look at that beautiful, majestic steed. Little side eye, hey? God, she's beautiful. The Maggie Cam for our good friends over at Pet Planet on 8th Street, your pet's natural grocer, Mike and Rochelle, along with Maggie's boyfriend, Leroy, always there to make sure you have the greatest experience you will ever have inside a pet store, as well as Kirsten, Shar, and Chris. They are all there for you. Even if you're just having a bad day, go by, say hello, and they'll cheer you up. That's what they do. Maggie gets so spoiled when she goes in there. You bring your dog in, I'm pretty sure Rochelle or Mike will give them some treats as well as they shop around. And if you haven't seen our latest Adventures with Maggie yet, you can find it on the network as Margaret went shopping and bought herself a new outfit, and she looks fantastic in it. And it's a shirt that says straight out of the dog park because she's a gangster like that. So go check out Pet Planet on 8th Street. The Olympics are going on. We haven't really talked about the Olympics at all. Dragon, do you watch the Olympics? Are you an Olympics guy? Yeah, here he goes. Nice. You watch the Australian versus USA volleyball. Men's or women's? Oh, of course. Yes. Oh, so you don't even know who won? Okay. It feels like there's not a lot of Olympic fever like there usually is, hey? Yeah. Volleyball players are very tall. It's sort of a prerequisite. I will say this when it comes to the Olympics, ignoring all of the conspiracies. I always wondered, I don't know if you noticed this at home, but I always wondered why it always felt weird watching the opening ceremonies of Olympic Games. Just like the really weird stuff that, and you know, if you look deep into it, you can figure out the meaning and all that. But as you're looking into it, you find out a lot of it, and this is as far as we'll go, because you know, this is no politics, no religion ever. That's why we have such a happy, beautiful family here. The conspiracies say that they're just satanic rituals. And if I look at like the past 4 or 5 Olympic Games and their opening ceremonies, I can see that a little bit, because it's got a weird tone to it. But this year, forgetting about all of the rituals and all the undertones and all that, the greatest band in the history of France, the mighty Gojira, playing at the opening ceremony is one of the coolest things I will ever see in my life, I think. Seeing a heavy metal band, like our main man, guy number 1, the Kyle and Gary's super awesome podcast, he got me into Gojira, and he listens to a lot of Gojira, and they're like very, very good when it comes to music. They're a heavy metal band, and they were in that big castle with all the beheaded ladies and the boat coming across. Again, satanic rituals. But it was really cool to see a mainstream band. I know Celine Dion was there too, and that really got a lot of pops for people. But to see a band like Gojira be respected so much from a country that they put them in the opening ceremonies, that was cool. So shout out to Gojira getting that Olympic nod. as Canada. I will say this, the Canadian women's soccer team, you'll like this one, Dragon. So apparently one of their coaches had a drone, and they were flying drones over the opposition's practices. And so the team going in to the playoff, well, not the playoffs, like the play-in rounds, I guess. So the top 2 of each pool advance. They were going in -6 points. So they have to win basically all their games. And then they had a game where they were down 1-0. They needed to win, by the way. They scored one, and then they scored another one to go ahead with like 2 minutes left. So Canada's overcoming all the odds, walking in there with a -point setup. And they still have a chance if they beat Colombia to move on, which is pretty cool to see guys overcoming, I don't want to say cheating, but a scandal, if you will. A little bit of a scandal. But what kind of sports events don't have scandals? So there you go. If you're watching the Olympics, good on you. I really feel like most people aren't. Well, it's sort of weird. But that's the take home. Canada Soccer don't care if they get penalized. Gojira is awesome. And opening ceremonies are really weird. They got to stop doing that, I think. It's going to be a great week here at the network as we have new episodes of Pulse Power with Aiden coming out today, which are super cool. I was talking to her. She said she has some nice easy ones for you if you want to ease into it, get some of that mobility back in your body and, not hurt all the time. They're very fun to do as well, so shout out to her and her show. And then tomorrow we're doing another episode of the All Out of Angst podcast. Episode 3 is up right now, and it's a very, very fun show with Uncle Mike and his All Natural Products, and Matt from all the bands, including Untimely Demise, Raven Witch, and Into Eternity. When we have those shows, whenever Matt from all the bands is in studio, we ended up talking about our mutual friend, our mutual brother in arms. And this dude is one of my favorite people. I've lived with him. He is my family. And he is just one of the coolest dudes you will ever meet. I've never talked to someone who is more grounded, but also at the same time so open to so many things. It's a crazy mix. His name is Noel, and we did a little previously recorded segment here. He just left not too long ago to head on over to his parents' place. Hello to everybody over at the Wilcoxes. Love you guys. And he sat down for a bit, and we caught up with him. So we're going to play that for you today. Take it away, Dragon. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Noel that we have been preaching about. He is my brother. He moved away as far east as humanly possible. He has returned for a visit, and we are so grateful to have him here today. Welcome home, old friend. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
That's way more toned down than the first try we had.
I hope they get mixed together.
Maybe we'll do a super cut.
I'm trying to look at my mustache.
So here's what's going on. This guy's been my brother forever. We spent time living together forever, and then he got married, and he moved away with his beautiful wife and his pup. And now, what were you saying? You drive a lawnmower? It's amazing.
Not every day, but as much as I get to.
When the lawn grows.
When the lawn grows.
Yeah,
which,
that's fair. You get in that mic a little bit. Make sure you don't talk too far away. There you go. Well, you don't gotta go too close.
Yes.
So, what else do you do out there?
I ride a lawnmower.
I love that. I'm very jealous. I see pictures of you out there.
It is
living the good life.
If you ever get the chance to mow the lawn with a riding lawnmower,
It's the best.
I don't know what's the saying. Like once you go riding lawnmower, you don't go back.
I think there's
That's
something
what the kids
there.
say, something like that. I don't know. It's wonderful.
Once you hit the lawnmower track, you never go back.
Yes.
Something
My
like
bad.
that.
It was something
there.
like that.
It was there.
Yeah.
And you spend a lot of days like literally walking through waterfalls and like bouncing in the ocean and swimming with crabs and stuff. Like what the heck is going on out there? You're living like a crazy maritime funland.
Yeah, it has
Marineland. Are you close to Marineland?
I think Marineland is West Coast, and I would never go to Marineland. And if Gary ever gets Marineland as a sponsor,
We won't.
it's done.
We won't. It's just the commercial growing up. Niagara Falls, Ontario is where it is.
Yes.
Yeah. Everyone loves Marineland. Except for all the stuff they do.
Except for all the animals that
Hey,
live
no
there.
politics, no religion around here. We are
They
not
don't
about
like it
that.
so much.
We are about
But yes,
catching up
Maritimes.
with
I live in the
friends.
Maritimes now. That's wonderful. It's
What's been the biggest difference for you since you moved out there?
well,
Besides the time change.
so time change. Sure, that's different. The biggest, the biggest difference is the lack of all the people I love. So that's kind of for the last 10 years, I really tried to center my life around my people because
Yes, you did.
I'll be honest, I'm kind of a boring guy.
I like to
I'm
say
pretty useless.
you and I are very similar in that way, where we don't need much to be happy.
Oh, that's
but we
very
are
true.
polar opposites when it comes to like drive and work ethic and wanting to do stuff.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
that's why we get along so good, I think.
Yeah. So, previous 10 years, I was just trying to make time for the people in my life, and the very most important people I got to see a lot of. So that's the biggest difference, is not getting to see the people I love.
And you've been seeing them since you got back here, are you?
That is what
Making
I'm doing.
the rounds.
I'm making the rounds. I will be continue to making rounds until I leave. And then I'll be back to the Maritimes, where I am a house husband. I've been a house husband for the last year.
So
and
hot. I love that.
I joked around so often when I was younger, I'm going to be a trophy husband. And the grass is always greener. There's always a silver lining. And I have the most amazing wife in the world.
Shout to Sam.
And I'm not just saying that because she buys me groceries. But like she's the most amazing part in the world. I told her, I talked to her. Well, I've talked to her every single day that I've been here in Saskatoon.
Of course.
And I let her know that, you're the best decision I've ever made.
Oh.
When you're in a relationship,
So beautiful.
these people are decisions.
Yes.
Being a son, being a brother, being a father, not that I am one, but, certain relationships are thrust upon you. But
Ooh.
being a husband, that's a choice.
Yeah.
And that's the best choice I've ever made with my life. So, I've been a house husband, trophy husband. She could have done much better as far as trophies go.
That's on
That
tape.
being said, it's had its ups and downs. I look forward to working again someday. I will not be a trophy husband. I'm not a career trophy husband.
You're
I'm
just in training.
I'm just in training. I thought I'd try it out for a bit.
You've always been good at being able to adjust on the go too as life goes on.
Thank
I think
you.
we can say that.
Okay, I'll take it.
Well, yeah, but think about it though. Like just with like the different jobs you've done in the school and all the stuff that you've gone through as you've been living, you're always like, I'm going to do this now. And you just do it. It's crazy.
Yeah, I am. I'll be honest. I'm a huge failure because I've tried so many things and none of them have worked out.
Wow.
So that being said, it's those experiences. Certainly, the experience Sam and I have had in Nova Scotia. Certainly, the painful experiences that we all go through.
Yeah.
Once you're on the other side of them, they're the best experiences to have because growing is
You
incredibly
learn
painful.
So much, yeah.
And so,
Oof.
yeah, I've always been pretty jealous of people who do have a really clear set path set before them. I'm very fortunate to have lots of buddies from different walks of life, and it's a pretty common thing. You get to an age and you get married and you have kids and you have a career, and I'm like genuinely pretty jealous of all of my buddies who have that because it's amazing. Like it looks so good. It's just that's not my path.
I can tell you from experience as a guy who tried to do that, it's a lot harder, and it takes like from the outside it always looks great. It always looks fantastic, but then when you have like your entire life is about everyone else but yourself, and of course you're okay with that when you're in it, but then when you get out of it, you say, "Holy cow, what am I doing with all this time I have now?" It's such a stark difference between taking kids to sports and school and all that stuff, along with working a job, along with taking care of the house and doing all that, and it's a lot. And no parent will ever say it's not worth it. And I totally agree.
Yep.
And I will say when you have a taste of it and then you don't, it's probably the best way to go about it because you have an idea of exactly what it is really like.
Yep.
Instead of being, I wish I had that or I wish I had this. It just makes you very grateful that you just have anything.
Yeah. Well, that's a very good way of putting it, is that you have anything. And so, being a house husband, a trophy husband for a year, the amount of gratitude I have for having something when there isn't much else going on, certainly not around me in the close vicinity of where I live.
That's
Not
good.
my people.
I want to get into that for a second
Okay.
because I picture you living right beside the ocean? I know you've been living in two places now, right?
Yeah.
The first one, you were pretty much just like a
So-
walk over to the.
Yeah, we moved not really with a plan. Besides, my father-in-law has a cottage out there.
And that's crazy too, by the way. That's what I'm saying. When you just do things, like that's so cool to me. Could never do that.
We knew we could go to my father-in-law's cottage, which is where we're living right now. So we spent last summer at the cottage. Sam started applying, and she got a job in Cape Breton in this tiny little town called New Waterford. And this tiny little Cape Breton town has a very large reputation,
Uh-oh.
and not necessarily a good reputation.
Oh, no.
But that being said, just like anybody who has a reputation, if you can see through the layers,
There it is.
spend a little bit of time experiencing what there is to experience,
Get to know the real place.
the real New Waterford. And so New Waterford nowadays, 2024, is not the same as New Waterford, say, 1964, 74, 84.
Was it a thriving community?
At one point, it was a coal town, just like so many
okay.
places in Nova Scotia.
Yeah.
Nova Scotia is an absolutely wonderful place.
Yeah, they got a place called Cole Harbor. I bet you that had to do with
I
coal.
bet you they have a whole lot of coal something, like every
Probably,
other town
hey.
is.
I had no idea it was such a coal hotbed.
Yes. So lots of history there. Lots of history and amazing people. I tell this to people a lot that, not that I've really explored Canada very much, but Nova Scotia, of the provinces I've been to, Nova Scotia is the closest to Saskatchewan.
I love
And the
that.
reason why that is because of the people. Because outside of Halifax, Halifax is more metropolitan, larger than Saskatoon, but outside of that, it's rural.
I'm pretty sure that Halifax is the only place anyone could name from Nova Scotia. Like, I don't know any, except for Cole Harbor, which was Sid Crosby. It's from there.
Okay,
That's
right.
the only
so
reason I know that.
And that's kind of, it's like Saskatchewan. It's
Yeah.
like Saskatoon, Regina. Outside of Saskatoon and Regina, what do you get? It's small towns, small communities.
Yeah.
It's people who live off the land, work off the land, and that's what their ancestors did.
That's right.
And so you have that in Nova Scotia. So the people are great. Mutual friend, Kurt Dahl.
KD.
He said it very well. Is like, yeah, instead of canola, you have lobsters. But the people are very similar. The way they live their life and what they enjoy. Again, small town, rural.
Like, how small are we talking if you were to compare?
Well, so the town we were living in was 6,000 people.
Okay, so that's New Waterford.
And the second largest city in Halifax is Sydney. We were 20
the
minutes
other one.
outside of Sydney. And Sydney is 35,000 people.
That's it?
So if you take into consideration, that's like Moose Jaw,
Yeah.
right?
So, man.
So outside of Halifax,
That's
it's a
crazy.
small town. Now, so Nova Scotianers, Maritimers, because they have a lot of history, they're very proud of their small towns and small communities, and
Yeah.
they should be because they're wonderful places.
Hell yeah.
They haven't really amalgamated town sites. So Saskatoon greater area, right?
Yeah.
Maybe it takes you half hour to get from one side of the city to the next. If you took Sydney and then you took all the surrounding smaller towns, you could look at it on a map and it'd be very similar to Saskatoon.
Yeah,
It
sort of
wouldn't be
like-
as many people, but that's the feeling you get.
Like
They just don't do that.
like the GTA there
Yes.
with Toronto.
Yes.
They just treat
Right.
it all
Yes.
like Toronto. Yeah.
So it's 20 minutes from Sydney. That's not too much different driving from East College Park to the North End. You know
Which
what I
is
mean?
crazy.
Like
Yeah, yeah,
it's 20
for sure.
minutes. So,
Yeah. That's
yeah.
crazy to me. I'm just trying to picture what it would be like. So how close are you in New Waterford to the ocean?
So okay, yes. Back to the original
Yeah.
thing. How close am I to the ocean? So the cottage, my father-in-law's cottage, where we're living at right now, that is on the ocean.
I love that.
It's
The
magical,
the
man.
pictures you send just blow my mind every single
I live
time.
inside a postcard. It's
You do?
picturesque.
It's
Yes, I do.
wild.
It's not lost on me. Not
Nope.
lost on this prairie boy. I'm prairie through and through.
Yes, he
I am
is.
that grown man with a stick in the ocean up to his waist poking things, and I can do that for 5 hours straight and not be bored because
Just discovering things.
Discovering. You don't have that in Saskatoon, right?
Nope.
So yeah, at the cottage, we're right on the ocean. New Waterford, where we were living, within the town,
Yeah.
I took Felix down to the coast every other day to let him run off leash. That was about a 10, 15-minute walk.
So it's
Like you
right
could see
there.
the
Everything's
ocean
there. Yeah.
from our window.
That's unbelievable to me that you can just being from here our whole lives and then just being like, I'm going to go and live here now and just have it be such like Like the closest thing I can think of is when I went to Australia back in the day,
Yep.
and that was only 3 months, and that was traveling around the ocean, like staying on the coast and doing our thing and having all the fun. Like to actually have to settle down and restart and build some sort of life, I don't know if I could ever do it. And
I wouldn't.
it's
I
crazy. that
wouldn't
you've
have
done
been
this. I
able to
love
do
it.
it without Sam.
Of course.
I've tried multiple times in my life. I'm like, I'm leaving Saskatoon.
Yeah.
I'm
Man.
gonna try somewhere else.
Dude,
And then
we
a
drove
month
you
later-
to you to the bus station and you
Sure
had a
did.
brand new mohawk
Yeah.
ready to go in a bag. See you guys later.
That was fun.
And then you
But
went
then
and
the
lived with
fun
the
wears,
pigster. and you
fun
got
wears
crazy.
off, and it's like, oh.
What have I done?
Well, you know, so like, yeah, so that time, right? A month in, whatever it was,
was
5, 6
wild.
weeks in, and I'm applying for Joe jobs and sleeping on a buddy's couch and realizing, like, I'm essentially starting all over with less, and I don't know anybody, and I'm going to be, you know, working a Joe
Throw
job just like
yourself
I
in
was.
there,
And it's
yeah.
like, well, I'm going back to Saskatoon.
Because that's where your people are.
That's where my people are.
And that's so true.
Without Sam, who is my number one person,
She's your anchor, dude.
yeah, I would have come back. You know, there were some pretty low moments, as I knew there would be, right? And if you know, if it was easy to drive across Canada and just okay, we're coming back, we would have.
There's something very.
So it was a
Yeah.
good thing that you can't just drive back home in the
That's
day.
it's way more permanent the farther you go. Hey.
Certainly is.
Yeah, and that's sort of what you need to establish and put your mind in the right setting to be like, okay, this is it now. So
helped.
with the music stuff, now the reason we talk about you all the time, not just on this show, but on this Dufferin Avenue Media Network, is because you were, I would say, the bridge for me to so many different musicians who are now a part of this network, and it's so cool. Like we got Matt from All the Bands coming here
Right.
every Tuesday. He'll be here tomorrow. And we got our own podcast, an audio only. Shout out to the All That Angst podcast. I think episode 3 is up now. It's very, very fun with Uncle Mike from his All Natural Products and Matt from All the Bands. And you were the precipice for Matt and Merbs to be coming and hanging out in the house when you were playing with Time of the Demise and then with your Raven Witch stuff.
Yep.
And a whole bunch of other musicians. And you've helped me meet so many different people. And I'm hoping that I know you're still getting your reps in because what we talk about all the time with Matt and I is how anytime we'd be hanging out in 4th Street, you would just be strumming away, plucking away, doing your thing.
Yeah.
Well, I'd be playing video games and it would just be like, I love that one. Oh, I love this. I love that. And it was just such a huge part of my life without me even thinking about it.
Yep.
And then you got into the teaching thing, which you are obviously very, very good at. Now, where do we go from here, music-wise? You still getting
Moving
some
forward?
of the training in and all that, or what's going
Sure.
on?
You know, I this has always been the case. I always play more than I practice, but so I play every day, and then I'll have spurts of weeks or months where it's like I'm gung ho about practicing some rudiments, some fundamentals, some theory, some technique. That's been a part of my life for close to 30 years now.
Forever. That's the only way you can be good at guitar.
Yeah, and you know, I'm good at guitar because I love it. At the end of the day, I just love it. It's like nobody was saying, "Hey, you've been playing guitar for 4 hours. You need to play for another 4 hours." That's just what I did.
That's it.
And eventually, it's no different than. It's so ingrained to part of my habit. It's ritual. It is. It's just habit. It's ritual. I play every day. I'm creative every day. I write songs every day, and it's just what I do.
When you're around someone, like when you live with someone who is like that, it's so, like it gets lost. It can get lost so quickly. How cool it is to have someone in your life right there that is so committed to something that it doesn't even feel like they're doing something. You know what I mean? Like that's what it takes to get good at anything is reps. And
Yep.
your reps would go, I'd go to work, I'd come home, you'd be outside. Oh, it's sweet, beautiful Eleanor just ripping away right on the steps. And then it sets the mood almost for like being in there. It's so inviting to be around music all the time.
Yeah, I could talk endlessly about music and how valuable it is to human beings,
Yeah.
but yeah, it is. It like reps, whatever kind of approach you look to analyzing it from the outside in. I look at people all the time, and so if you're watching people and they're putting in reps, so to speak, say with playing the guitar, I feel the same way about people with so much of things that they do that I don't do.
Yeah.
Like, I recognize like people with a career, for example, who are really motivated and jumped through just as many hoops as I did to get where they are in life, right? I intentionally sacrificed and suffered for my love of music.
Yeah.
And there's been
I can
numerous
vouch
times
for
in my
that.
life where music just gave me purpose and meaning beyond the purpose and meaning that you get from, say, your career. And that's, I'm definitely not saying something's more important than the other, but for me as a person, as the individual I am, is like, yeah, this is really important to me. Whether I am successful or not, or have something to show for it, I recognize that I'm just a better person if I...
It makes you happy. It's what you're
Yeah.
passionate about. It's your
Yeah.
passion. It's just like this place. It's exactly like this place.
Yep.
I spend way more time than I ever should in here just editing videos and recording different like audio stuff and trimming up promos, and I'm in here all the time. And it's because I love sitting down like this and talking to people, and I love, putting out really cool stuff, and we're always creating really cool stuff in here. So just to have it right here where I live too is like another really cool thing. That's always been the dream of mine. Just wake up. I can literally step out of my bed, still in my underwear, take 15 steps, and I'm in the studio.
Yes.
And I'm working. And just to have that accessibility to your passion, I guess would
Yes,
be
so
really
anybody
I'm grateful for that.
wants to pursue any kind of creative outlet, and creativity can be involved with, it is involved with any type
Yeah.
of human endeavor,
For sure.
right? Whether that's the sciences or gardening or cooking or making music or editing.
Thinking outside the box.
Right?
Yeah.
The creative pursuit of whatever you're involved in, adding the creative element to it. If you really want to open doors for yourself, is allow yourself to have a space in which you can be creative. I think anybody who is involved with any type of creative outlet can vouch for the reality of, if you have to, when you are inspired, if you have to set up to be creative and then tear down after being creative, it will kill your drive. It will take away from the inspiration. So if you can have a space, if you
Yeah.
can have a space to be creative, make that space. Like, just do it.
Just do
Whatever it takes.
Just do it. That's so
you-
true.
And then you can just walk in, like here, right? You can just walk in and you can be creative.
It's crazy. Then that's like, man, do you know how many times I've sat here like, what the hell am I doing? Oh my God, what have I
That's-
done? And then you
that's
just,
my life every
yeah,
single
dude,
day.
like, and just all the thoughts creep in, and you have to
Yeah.
push them all out.
Yeah.
And then you see how happy everyone is when they come in here, and you see like this family we've created. It's like, okay, no, this is the right thing. We're on the right path. And it's going very, very well as we are hanging out with Noel on the Monday edition of your show, My Main Man. Now, I want to get into a little bit more on the music side because something came up when Matt and his beautiful wife Erin were here last Tuesday.
Yes.
The Crossroads solo, the great Ralph
Okay.
Macchio facing Steve Vai. And I think I told the story about how we sat there and you were playing it over and over, and we're trying to figure out how he hit that last note that won the battle. And then you eventually realized, oh, it's because there's two guitars.
Yeah, that final
Two
note.
guitars.
It's probably three guitars.
Three guitars.
Harmonizing
It's impossible
above
to
the
do on your
guitar.
own. And I remember you like just nailing it until the end. And you're like, oh, God, how does he do that?
Yeah. Right.
And
So yes.
That solo. Tell me why that solo is so special to you. I love it. Would you say next to Thriller, it's your favorite solo of all time?
Oh, don't even get me started on guitar solos.
Well, hey,
We
that's
don't
why
have
we're
enough
here,
time.
man. No, we're getting to know you. I want to know.
Okay, so guitar solos. Why is Eugene's Trick Bag? That's what it's called. That little piece of music. Why is it so important? Because I can't play it. Because I
It's-
can't play it.
It's the
And-
dragon when you're chasing the dragon. You
Yeah.
almost got me. You're almost there.
And it's I've been playing that thing for like 20 years, 25 years, and I'll never be able to play it like Steve Vai. And I just saw a video the other day of like a kid who's 8 years old,
Just
YouTube,
shredding.
and he just
Get out of here.
like, of course you can, kid. Good for you. And now that being said, that whole piece of music, there's harmonies throughout. So it's two guitars throughout. And the older I got, the more knowledgeable I came of guitar and theory, like music. I realized all these things. And I still, I wouldn't say I practice it every day, but I go back to it. It's a thing that I go back to, and it's good for my guitar playing. And there's certain guitar solos, historically speaking, chronologically speaking, that kind of raise the bar, that or get held as benchmarks.
Ooh.
And so when I was 16, Eugene's Trick Bag was like, it was at the top.
I didn't know the solo had a name that makes you so happy.
Yeah.
Is Ralph Macchio's name Eugene in the movie?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yep.
that makes sense.
And Eugene Lightning Boy Martone.
There it is.
And yeah, so that solo, and it's really based upon a classical violinist piece, one of his caprices, Niccolo Paganini. And so there's this other guitarist player who really influenced me when I was young, Yngwie Malmsteen.
Yes,
Right?
Malmsteen.
He's neoclassical guitar god, right?
Yep.
And you know, I was at a very young age. From the moment I started playing the guitar, I just let myself play. And so there wasn't like, well, I can't play that, I'm not good enough. It's like I recognized I couldn't play it. I know I'm not good enough.
You're aware.
You know what happens when you can't play something on the guitar?
You get pissed off.
Yeah, I was going to say nothing. But definitely there is
Yeah.
some sort of emotional reaction, but it's not like learning to skate, like skateboard.
Yeah.
I had buddies, like, well, when we were younger, you would have too. Like, I had buddies who were naturally athletic and, like, can ollie a flight of stairs. And, like,
Yeah.
you put me on a skateboard and it's like, hey, guys, look at me. I'm not falling down.
It's insane. Yeah.
Awesome. Can you move now? Not really.
No, well, I'm standing.
No, I'm just going to stay
Cliff
here.
Bashtuk
Like Matt.
and Pat Spager, both those guys.
Yeah.
Shredders on the boards.
course.
Yeah, just naturally.
Yeah,
It's insane.
I had buddies who were really good at stuff like that, and that wasn't really my thing. And I lost my train of thought. Where was I going with that?
Well, we were just talking about Eugene's Trick Bag and why that solo holds such a
yes.
huge place
So,
in your heart.
when I started playing the guitar, I had peers and friends and stuff starting at the same time, and like they were so reluctant to try and play something difficult. And with me, it's just like Paganini, Yngwie
it on.
Malmsteen, like
Bring it
let's do
on.
this.
Yeah.
Because it's like you don't break your arm, nothing happens. Like your ego gets hurt, but like okay,
Reps.
it's reps. It's like oh, so I can. It really quickly is like I can't play this today, but I've been playing the same thing for 2 weeks, and 2 weeks later I can play it. And so 20, 25 years later with Eugene's Trick Bag, I still can't play it. I'll never play it as well as Steve Vai
It's
or
so good.
virtuoso YouTube kids and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Phenoms.
And it's just really good for my guitar playing.
I like that. And it's catchy as hell. Like it's
a
such a
wonderful
sick
little
solo.
piece of music. So there's a lot in that little piece of music that's really good for your guitar playing. Just the physical aspect, the physical nature of playing the guitar, what your hands and your fingers have to do. It's really, really good practice for your guitar playing. And, you know, when I say I'll never play it as well as these people, whether it's an 8-year-old on YouTube or Steve Vai, nobody ever really performs the piece live. Now, I'm not saying that people can't, but
Well,
to reproduce it
You
live.
need other guitars.
Yeah, to reproduce it live, and that would, you know, that was the thing that bothered me forever. Is like I can't play it how I hear it in my head, and then one day it's just like, yeah, man, you got to let it go because you can't, because you physically
You
can't.
actually can't,
You
yeah.
can't, and it's like, oh, okay, I'm cool.
Now I'm good.
Now I'm good.
So where would you put that compared to the incredible solo from Michael Jackson's classic Thriller?
Thriller?
Yeah, because I know you're a huge fan of that solo too.
Yeah, Eddie Van Halen is
So good. One take. Was
the
it?
goat. I
Pretty sure
think
he
it
walked
was,
in there one take. Quincy
Yeah,
Jones tells a story about it.
I wouldn't be surprised if Eddie walked in. Well, actually, I know Eddie's process from reading about him. He would do multiple takes and often piece together the
From each
solos, like different parts. Say, you know, you have 30 seconds to do a guitar solo, and he would just, you know, he'd improvise and then pick out 3 seconds here,
Parts that
10
he
seconds
likes.
here, put it
That's
together.
cool, yeah.
And that was his creative process. There's not a right or wrong about creative processes. It's like proof is in the pudding. It's the finished product. And when it comes to Eddie Van Halen, dude played everything live every single night,
So cool.
right?
So
Yeah. So I just think that's one of the best examples of the electric guitar, what it sounds like, what you can do with it when it really competent, talented musician is given the electric guitar, an innovator like Eddie Van Halen was, is like, here's an example of a really cool guitar solo. You know, at this point in my life, a good song is worth 100 good guitar solos. So I'm way more into songs and songwriting than I am guitar solos. That being said, if you're a little kid and some guitar solo makes you go, I got to play guitar, man. Like, this is it. I have to do this.
That's
for
what it's all
the
about.
rest
That's
of my
the
life.
hook.
And that's what it comes down
hooks
to.
you in.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, just the fact that I'm sure a lot of people don't even know that Eddie Van Halen was the guitarist for that song, for that solo, is just like mind-boggling.
Yeah, like I can't remember exactly when I figured that out, but I was like, that's Eddie Van Halen? Because he's not in the music video or anything.
No.
And so is another amazing guitar player who did all the other guitar stuff, Steve Lukather, who's one of the greatest. He's a session guitar player.
Okay.
So he's been on more recordings, more popular recordings, like guys like session guitar players. You take Steve Lukather, Brent Mason, Larry Carlton, Lee Reitenauer. These guys are just
killers out there, yeah.
man, like
Just
immense,
killers.
monstrous musicians, but they never were really in touring bands. Like Steve Lukather, he was in the band Toto.
Hey, we know
Rose
that
Adam.
song.
Yeah, right. So like this amazing guitar player, amazing musician, but he was just working in L.A. in the session or studio every day.
And that's more just like, that almost like comes down to luck, hey? Like just who you get with and who you go with. Because you're that good, obviously, that you can be one of the greatest session guitarists ever, but to actually get the right team to go out with,
There's definitely going to be, stars align for certain people, for sure. I mean, we're talking about reps. It's more discipline than it is luck, but at some point, you kind of have to bridge those two things. Like, you have to recognize discipline is going to have you to present something, but sometimes if you're upset with yourself, you've put in decades of hard work, you're amazing, everybody acknowledges how good you are with whatever medium you're involved in, and you're not some sort of superstar. That's not necessarily your fault. Like, superstars are often made by other people, especially in the art world. Like, you look at the most amazing painters, that, like, it wasn't their paintings that made them famous. It was people who had art studios and people within the art world saying, you need to pay attention to this person. Often it's the same thing within music.
That's a great point, where someone's like, well, how much is this painting worth? Well, how much is it worth to you?
Yeah,
like,
exactly. And so if you're a taste maker, a flavor maker within the,
there you go,
a big heavy roller in the art world, and you have this famous exhibition, studio, gallery.
I think all of them.
Yeah. All of them. Pick one of those.
All of them.
Right, where they're essentially showing people's paintings.
Yeah.
It's those people that are saying this is worth $1 million.
They're more important than the artists. Really?
In the case of actual
cash,
it being presented as collectible, a commodity.
Yeah. No one's talking about it.
You know, there are artists whose work transcends time and culture, but those are the outliers. Like, that's not the normative. That's not the majority, right? The vast majority of people who are creative and work in some sort of creative field, they're down there in the trenches every day. It's like I have the tremendous amount of respect I have for actual gigging working musicians who pay their bills just being a hired gun, like a fill-in guy. Like, every town has guys like this, and you'll never know who they are. They're not going to record some hit song or some hit record, but they serve a vital role in their community of providing this thing that everybody loves. And yes,
so true. I hear you, man. Before we wrap this up, I want to thank you for being the precipice for getting me into classical music, as you were the one to eat.
Me. I thought we were thanking.
Well, they get thanked all the time. You watching, thank you, obviously. But classical music, the Rachmaninoffs, the Rossinis, the Mozarts, all these guys.
Yep.
I didn't listen to any of it until you came into my life and you gave me all your CDs, and you can always blow someone's mind when you can just say, oh, man, that sounds a little bit like Rachmaninoff, and then actually have it happening while you're in like a nice little restaurant and they have it in the background. Or I think that's a piece by Rossini, isn't it? Yes. You know, all these different things. How important is classical music to you as far as learning and getting to where you are now?
So All right. I'll
'Cause you
try.
just- you
I'll
just-
try to. I'll try to stay focused because I have a million things I want to say.
Okay.
So, with music, one of the best ways I've heard a person put it is Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Your boy.
He said there's two types of music in the world: music you like and music you don't like. And so, right from the get-go, I'm told by my mom I used to run around outside in my diapers, singing the melody for Mr. Sandman. Yeah, right. And so, music's always been there. My dad was a musician and stuff, and at no point in my life did I stop myself from listening to something that my ears went, what's this? I really like that. And so I've been, from the get-go, I was always teased, by my buddies, like, man, like, what do you do? Like, why are you listening to this? It's not like I was putting on Bach when we're like partying or anything. It's not like there's a time and place for all these different kinds of music.
You guys gotta hear this song,
bro. I listen to this piece of music is an hour long and it's the saddest thing I've ever heard. Yeah. Right? It's like, yeah, let's listen to that while we hang out. Let's party, yeah. It's like, no, right? So there's a time and place. But from the get-go, it was just like I heard music just as music. Like, here's orchestrated sound. Yeah. And so, like, I grew up in the same place and time as everybody else. Our culture, music's in everything. It's in our cartoons and video games. It's in our commercials, right? And so my ears, way more than, like, my brain, just my ears are kind of paying attention to what I'm hearing. It's like, I like the sound of that. I like that. My dad had Liszt Hungarian Rhapsodies on tape cassette. Nice. And so, I was that kid going out at night and doing things I shouldn't have been doing and coming home in a stupor.
A haze,
from
if you
having
will.
so much fun.
Nothing else.
Because friends are fun. Being young with friends is fun.
Not
in any case,
trouble, yes.
I would come home and I'd put my headphones on, and it could be Metallica, it could have been Steve Vai or Stevie Ray Vaughan, Red Hot Chili Peppers, the Pixies, and it also could have been Liszt, and it could have been Mozart.
All those guys.
And it's just like I'm just laying in bed with my headphones on, going, "Oh my god!
You guys
Anybody else hear this? Oh my God, what is this?"
Tell the world, man.
Right? And so, yeah, it's like classical music's just music, and it really does just come down to whatever floats your boat. And so it doesn't matter if it's the Backstreet Boys or like boy bands or K-pop or classical or jazz. It's like I would suggest that there's certain genres, if you will, where music maybe gets more explored thoroughly, objectively.
Nice.
Because it's allowed to explore. It's allowed to just, where is this music capable of going?
Yeah.
Right? As opposed to this song
like
is a
that.
commodity. It serves a purpose. It has to be 3 minutes long. It has to X, Y, Z. All has to line up. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, it is what it is. I mean, it bothers me if you're being sold something you're not even aware you're being sold something.
Yeah.
But if you're just listening to music and you like what you like, yeah, man, it doesn't matter. But the whole classical thing is just, I just liked it. And like Rachmaninoff's preludes,
So
if you've never heard Rachmaninoff's
Wild.
Vespers, he took a bunch of, I believe it's traditional, like Orthodox church music, a lot of choral stuff, and he arranged it. It's some of the most beautiful music anyone could ever hear.
Yeah,
and
it's
he,
crazy.
like, the dude was
It's
this
crazy.
monstrous, like, genius of a musician. And you can listen to Sibelius's symphonies, and Debussy is one of my favorites. And it's just one of these things where I don't really have I don't want to say favorites. I've had so many favorites at this point in my life. It's
Yeah.
like, what's your favorite? It's like they all are.
They all.
It kind of depends what mood I'm in.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
especially when you're around music like you are,
Yeah.
because it's like all you do, and that's your life. So it's eventually you're gonna have all the ones that you really like you say, and I think that's sort of expected. One more for you, real quick. What is your favorite instructional DVD?
Ooh, we're obviously talking guitar instructional DVD?
Yes. And are you going to be back again this week? Because we can.
I hope so.
Okay.
I
hope so
want to
too.
come back tomorrow because I know Matt's
Yep.
going to be here.
Yep. But let's close on this one. 'Cause like that could be a whole nother show. Us talking about
Yeah,
those like Paul
sure.
Gilberts and the Jason Beckers and all that.
Instructional DVD. You know what? One of my favorites, and this isn't a household by name by any means, but Michael Lee Firkins. I watched that one. That one and Brent Mason's. I mean, like, I love country guitar. It's super fun to play. So, like, I like outlaw country, kind of old school country.
Yeah.
Modern country doesn't do a lot for me. I'm not gonna rip on anybody for the music or anything. It just doesn't do a lot for me. But, like, man, country guitar players are some of the most fiercest guitar players on the planet. Just doing terrifying things, right?
Yeah.
If you're a guitar player and you listen to them, you're like, oh my god, like,
How is he doing that?
yeah, what?
Like the chicken picking
The
along
chicken
with
picking,
all the
the
on the
thumb
in
and fingers,
betweens. Yeah.
So
It's crazy.
some of the really most influential guitar players in history have been country guitar players. So Brent
cool.
Mason's guitar DVD. I'll go flip a coin. It's going to be between Brent Mason and Michael Lee Firkins.
Nice.
And then I could do, if I was going to say a suggestion, if you really wanted to get a guitar DVD that you're going to get a lot of mileage from,
Here we go.
right? If you
Here we
want to
go.
sit down, probably a lot of these you can find on YouTube for sure too. Oh, you know what? It would almost depend upon what you're trying to get from the guitar, because there's so many
Yeah, where
avenues
you're
you
at
can,
before you
go
go in,
down,
yeah.
right? So maybe I can't make that suggestion. I would need I would have to make specifications for, like, maybe technique or
That's
theory or genre specific.
What if we put it this way? Now we'll make it real easy. What's
Okay.
the funniest one? Who has
Oh,
the funniest
Paul
instruction?
Gilbert,
Thank you.
by
That's the answer. I
for
was looking
sure. Paul Gilbert is such a beauty, man. As far as, like, you
So
like playing
funny.
guitar, so do I. Like, you
Yeah.
want this to be entertaining?
So entertaining. Like, you would sit there and you'd play along while I just sit there and watch and be entertained and laugh
he's
at
a
the
funny guy.
hilarious stuff going
Yeah,
on.
he's a funny
Like,
guy.
those things are so good. Well, right on, dude. Thank you so much for stopping by. I know it's a bit of a bike ride here, but you made it.
It's
And
hot.
you made it on.
I
We're
didn't pack
sweating.
shorts.
That's the best part of this, I think, is like the swass you'll be packing all week is just whew, next level. But you finally made your debut here on the network. You always have a home here. This is your family. You know that. We're going to keep working, and we're going to see what we can do to get you more involved, even if you are across the country, because this place is.
Man,
I tell
wish
everyone.
there was some way I could, like, be on the other side of the country. Like I wish they had some sort of technology.
We do
like a
have
video
a
camera
we
or
do have the
something.
Zoom. Do you have a Zoom?
I know what that is.
Yeah, so maybe we'll start zooming with you once a week. We'll get you in the
Maybe
rotation
someday.
because I know the times are all wonky. Was it 3 hours or 4 hours?
3 hours. Yeah, that's true.
Jeez, so
That being said, I'm a trophy husband.
that is true. We can make time. Ladies and gentlemen, his name is Noel. He is a part of this family. We love him, and he will be back again. So get used to this beautiful face. Hey, look, I'm just looking at the camera. God, you're handsome.
That's what my wife tells me, and then she takes pictures, and I don't believe her.
There you go. A great visit with a great man who I'm so happy to finally get into the studio. That dude, that's one of the most talented dudes you will ever meet. And it's just such an honor to have him in. Hopefully we'll get him in maybe tomorrow as well. And maybe even on Friday. We're going to try to get a lot of Noel in this week as we get set to wrap it up for today. Before we do, Margaret's right back. Like, she's getting so good at hitting her spots. As we were getting ready to hit back on the stage, she comes right back and she nuzzles right in. So I think it's time for another Maggie Cam. Let's do it. The Maggie Cam, one more time for our good buddies over at Pet Planet on 8th Street, your pet's natural grocer, Mike and Rochelle, as well as Margaret's lovely, beautiful boyfriend, Leroy, are always there to make your day the best day you will ever have. More so, we just love Pet Planet and we love showing off Maggie. Pet Planet on 8th Street, look at her. Normally about this time, she knows it's about time to go eat, so she gets really excited. But now she's tuckered out. She must have had a long day today. It was a long day. We played 18 holes at the Willows this morning with my beautiful nephew, my firstborn nephew, my sweet Benji, and my older brother Davey, who's the firefighter, and my dad, and that was a lot of fun. Golf's hard, that's what I learned. To do 18 holes, it takes a lot. So thank you again to the gang for getting us out this morning. Over the weekend, my mother and my sister were in the beautiful town of Bigger, Saskatchewan. Shout out to Bigger. Went to visit my grandma and other relatives in the graveyard out there. And it was very cool. They brought back a bunch of great stuff from the museum. Shout out to Bigger. Revitalize Bigger, right? hometown of the greatest reporter in the history of news, the great Gerald Bowman from News Talk Radio, award winner, national award winner, the best to ever do it. My mentor, one of my dudes, and as well, the greatest uncles ever, Uncle Kev. Saw him the other night too. Proudly from Bigger, Saskatchewan, and we will support as we always do. So we got some new stuff for the set, which is very, very fun. Also had to talk to our friends at Aquaman Limited. Said that the advertising definitely has been paying off as people are asking about those underwater drone inspections, which I love to hear. And they don't only do that, they do water sampling, water monitoring, and much, much more. So hit up Aquaman in Alberta and Saskatchewan. They got you hooked up, as well as our friends over at Nickel Plumbing and Heating. Kevin and his team over at Hammer Time Roofing. We got a banner we're going to set up for tomorrow. We'll get them going. So stop. It's Hammer Time. You're going to get a lot of MC Hammer puns, which are going to be a lot of fun. And so much more to everybody on this team, SCS, as well as Deneb Finishing. And it's just, this family has grown so much in such a short time. And we've been sitting around and talking about like finances and where we go and how do we grow. And it's unbelievable the amount of support that we've got. So just want to say thank you to everybody again. And if you want to be a part of it yourself, it's real easy. We'll see. I don't got the TV, so I won't know if I hit it, Dragon. But I have a feeling it's going to be right around here. That's awesome, man. DufferinAve.com. That's the place you go. Check that out. You can sign up to be advertisers, sponsors, creators. If you are of the same mindset that you're sick of the world being such a horrible, nasty place and you want to make it better, you think it's important for each other, you and I, to treat each other as how we want to be treated. Treat other people the way you would want to be treated. Put other people before yourself. If you're about that, that's how we make the world a better place. Join our team and help us grow so we can, spread the love, if you will, as the world seems to be in trying times. And we need good people to start caring about each other again. That's how you do it. Sign up. Frankie's Fingers, shall we? Oh, it's just beautiful, man. What a great way to start the day. I talked to Coach Mazer before the show, and he's busy. He's been busy. And I said, dude, we need you back here more often because everyone loves you so much, including the camera. So we'll get him hopefully on Wednesday when we talk with our good friend and author, the great Adrian Blairson, from this book right here. Very good book, almost done it, learning a lot about building teams. So we can look forward to that tomorrow. We will have Matt from All the Bands, as well as Uncle Mike from All the All Natural Products, as he is back from his vacation in the shoe swaps. So we'll get back to working on that little song of ours, and hopefully Noel might be here too and get some battling guitars going on. This might turn into, dare I say, a concert for the first time here on the Dufferin Avenue Media Network and your show. So we got all that to look forward to. To the Dragon, thank you for crushing it. You worked so hard today. I'm so proud of you and what you've become as you continue to grow. And I'm talking about people being characters. Coach Mazer's a big one, and so is this guy right here. Go ahead. Hey, don't tell him behind the scenes stuff. Come on, it's supposed to be mysterious. We worked hard. Well, that pre-tape was gone. Yeah. Actually, to be more honest, you worked me over out there, beat me like 8-3 or something. I suck at Super Smash Bros. By the way, you can see more of that over on the Twitch stream, Dufferin Ave Media on Twitch, as we stream all sorts of games and have a lot of fun while we do it. That is it for today. Thank you again. We'll be back tomorrow with the boys. It's going to be a lot of fun. All Out Angst podcast we'll be recording before the show like we always do. Be sure to check that out, as I think I saw some links on the internet for you to go click on and enjoy. A couple old dudes talking about music and fun and life and basically the 90s. It's like a 90s throwback show, which is very, very cool. So until then, have an amazing rest of your Monday. The Blue Jays, by the way, if you still care, they got hammered on. They're in the middle of a doubleheader right now with the Baltimore Orioles. It's not pretty, but Game 2 is set to go right away, so you can enjoy some baseball. Remember, karma is very, very, very real, all right? So just do good things. Notice they'll start happening to you, and that's the big goal here, to make the world a better place. So join us on that adventure, and we'll talk to you tomorrow. Have a great rest of your Monday. Margaret!